Aston Martin, just trouble spots for people. If you're considering buying one of these, I just want to show you a couple spots that you might want to look for. This is only the second one I've done, but I can see there's some problem areas that if you want to inspect one to buy for yourself, I can show you some issues, that some places to look that you want to be aware of before you buy one. One is, pardon me, we got all this rust up here. So what we have here is the heater core, and then all of this is covered by a nice insulation, like a rubberized top with like a fiberglass or sponge underneath. I don't know what it was. It's hard to tell after all these years and age. So this area looked perfect. And it wasn't until we peeled away the insulation that we realized how bad this was. But this is obviously like a trouble spot, and it was probably caused by the heater core that was here. It was probably leaking. But no matter what, I mean, you got anytime you get water here, like all that insulation would just be wet. We have some from the interior down here, but that's slightly different, but it's still like a sponge material. So anywhere that was is like retaining water for long periods of time, and possibly never drying. So that's one area I would look at if you're considering buying one. Lift up the insulation, look behind. Same on the other side. This is obviously a problem area. Now, one area that you can't see that would be kind of difficult, but if you have this stuff, you'll probably have these other issues. And this is a pretty big support here. You go side to side. Here's where your steering column mounts to. There's a bracket, so I wouldn't call that very secure anymore. What you can't see in the video is the crack goes all the way back to here, and really this is all thin. I could probably push my finger through that if I wanted to. And that's your steering column. You know, there's a problem. So this has the whole air, HVAC system. So you have the AC on this side and the heater over there and all the ductwork in between. So you can't really see it. But I would try if you can. This obviously is another area where it retains water. It gets water in there and it just sits and rots. A lot of this is probably the AC wasn't draining right. This had the condenser over here, not the condenser, the evaporator over here, and it would probably get condensation on it and drip down and just sit there and soak that. Then other areas obviously have floors. That's normal. You're gonna see floor problems. It's a unibody, so it's kind of critical. So there's floor issues. There's holes everywhere. Somebody already did work to this trunk, but the trunk was rotted out. They have all this, like the battery support is rotted out. All in here is rot. I would assume that these are actually quite common. So another area you want to look at, I'm going to have to lift up the car for a second. Or give me a second to lift up the car. So we have these rockers that are also in poor shape, but they're hard to see because you have these nice stainless covers that make them look good. So one problem is this aluminum body is riveted to the steel, unless of course there's no steel to rivet it to. If it's all rust. So one thing I'd look for if you were going one of these, like see if these are loose. If these are loose, your rockers are going to need to be replaced. Like your car is in bad shape. Same with back here. If all this aluminum is attached to steel by rivets, and if there's no steel, then your quarters aren't attached at the bottom. As in here, there's nothing really holding these together. You know, this is structural framework here. Oh, I'm holding the camera terrible. This is all structural framework here. This is important. There's some more rocker. So this is attached right now, just barely. And then of course you get your normal, anyways, look for accident repairs or accidents. Start the scene, but this is all crooked. So you know that this car's been in an accident. You can see like the suspension has got some changes, so like there's several indications this car's been in an accident, but that's not typical. The rust I showed you is typical. That's something you want to look for. You always want to look for accidents, any car you look at, but these are just special problem areas unique to the Aston Martin that you should just be aware of. Other things like, it's hard to see, but there's a buckle in the wheel well, which is another sign of an accident. But anyways, I hope that helps somebody.